The battle raged across the red plains of Mars Colony 7, where humanity had established its first major settlement beyond Earth. Plasma fire lit up the dusty atmosphere as human defenders fought against the invading starborn forces. Among the chaos, a lone starborn warrior named Val lay motionless behind a fallen piece of machinery, his crystalline armor cracked and his neural systems failing. Val had always been proud of his enhanced body, with its biomechanical improvements that made him one of the most feared warriors in the starborn fleet. But now, those same enhancements had become his prison. A direct hit from a human electromagnetic pulse weapon had scrambled his neural networks, leaving him paralyzed from neck to toe. As he lay there, watching his fellow warriors retreat under heavy human resistance, Val accepted that this would be his final resting place. It was starborn custom to leave behind those who could not fight, a harsh tradition that had kept their species strong through countless wars. He could already feel his life support systems beginning to fail. The sounds of battle grew distant as both sides pulled back to regroup. Val's enhanced hearing picked up the crunch of boots on Martian soil, growing closer. He prepared himself for the end, expecting a human soldier to finish him off. It would be a warrior's death, at least. But what happened next changed everything Val thought he knew about his enemy. A human soldier in standard combat gear appeared, weapon raised. Through his fading vision, Val saw the soldier's nameplate. Miller. Their eyes met, Val's metallic purple ones with the human's brown ones. The human's weapon lowered slightly. "Can you move?" Miller asked in a clear, firm voice. Val managed to respond through his still-functioning vocal systems. "Paralyzed. Neural damage. Leave me, human. It is our way." Miller knelt beside him, already pulling out a medical scanner. "Well, it's not our way," the soldier replied, beginning to assess Val's condition. "I'm a combat medic. And I don't leave anyone behind, human or not." Val wanted to protest, to explain that this violated all protocols of war as his people knew them. But he could only watch as Miller began working, connecting portable power units to Val's failing systems and applying emergency patches to his damaged neural pathways. "Your people," Val started to say. "My people believe in helping those in need," Miller interrupted, focused on the medical readouts. "Even if those people were trying to kill us 5 minutes ago. Now hold still, I think I can stabilize your core systems, but it's going to take some work." As the Martian sun began to set, casting long shadows across the battlefield, Val found himself experiencing something entirely new, being saved by an enemy he had been taught to despise. And with that realization came the first hints of doubt about everything he had been taught about humans and their ways. The war suddenly felt different to Val. More complicated. And as Miller continued working to save his life, he began to understand that perhaps his people had gravely misunderstood humanity all along. The human medical bay inside Mars Colony 7's underground bunker was nothing like the sterile, cold facilities Val knew from starborn ships. Here, the walls were painted in soft blues and greens, and the medical staff moved with quick efficiency rather than mechanical precision. Val lay on a specially modified bed, his crystalline armor now connected to various human medical devices that blinked and hummed. Miller had taken a huge risk bringing an enemy warrior into the human stronghold. Many of the other soldiers had protested, weapons raised, until Miller shouted, "He's a patient now, not an enemy!" Something in the medic's voice made them lower their weapons, though their suspicious glares remained. The human doctor, an older woman named Drake, studied the holographic displays showing Val's neural network. "I've never seen anything quite like this," she murmured, her fingers tracing the complex patterns of biomechanical circuits that made up Val's nervous system. "It's beautiful engineering, but the EMP blast has completely scrambled the pathways. Can you fix it?" Miller asked, standing nearby. The combat medic had refused to leave, even after delivering Val to the medical bay. "Maybe," Drake replied. "But we'll need help. The only ones who really understand this technology are the starborn themselves," Val finished for her. His voice remained steady, though inside he felt a mix of hope and dread. "You would need one of our medical engineers." And they would never help. To them, I am already dead. Miller's face hardened with determination. Then we'll find another way. There has to be something in your data banks about this technology, right? Research files, medical records? Our central command ship carries such information, Val admitted. But it is heavily guarded, and your forces cannot hope to reach it. A slow smile spread across Miller's face. Maybe we don't have to reach it. Dr. Drake, remember that communications expert who joined us last month? The one who kept talking about breaking starborn encryption? Drake's eyes widened. Thompson? Yes, he claimed he was close to a breakthrough. The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. Thompson, a lanky man with quick eyes and faster fingers, was brought in. He set up his equipment near Val's bed, working to intercept and decode starborn medical databases. Val watched in amazement as the humans' apparently primitive technology began to unravel encryption that his people had thought unbreakable. Your species continues to surprise me, Val commented as Thompson worked. We were told humans were technologically inferior, relying only on brute force and numbers. Miller snorted. Yeah, well, your people got that wrong, along with a lot of other things about us. Got it. Thompson suddenly exclaimed. Data began flowing across his screens, detailed schematics of starborn neural enhancement systems. Everything we need to know about your biology and how to repair it. But as hope began to rise in Val's chest, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. A voice echoed through the speakers. Multiple starborn ships detected on approach. This is not a drill. All personnel to battle stations. Miller looked at the medical bay's ceiling, then at Val, determination written across the human's face. Well, looks like your friends are coming back for another round. But this time, we've got something they don't know about, actual intel on their systems, thanks to you. They are not coming to rescue me, Val said quietly. They are coming to ensure nothing of our technology falls into human hands. Including me. Drake stepped forward, her voice firm. Then we better work fast. Thompson, download everything you can. Miller, get our defenses ready. I'm not losing my patient to some misguided attack. As the humans rushed to prepare for the coming assault, Val realized he was witnessing something remarkable. These humans were willing to risk everything to save an enemy soldier, not for tactical advantage, but simply because they believed it was right. And for the first time in his life, Val found himself hoping his own people would fail in their mission. The underground medical bay transformed into a fortress within minutes. Soldiers moved medical equipment against walls, set up energy barriers, and positioned themselves at key points. Dr. Drake worked frantically on Val's neural systems while Thompson continued downloading starborn medical data. Through the facility's sensors, they watched as 5 starborn ships descended from the red Martian sky. Each vessel bristled with weapons designed to pierce underground defenses. Val recognized the lead ship's markings and felt his artificial heart sink. That is Command Ship Leader Axe, he told Miller, who stood guard nearby. He is ruthless. He once ordered an entire squad executed for showing mercy to wounded enemies. Miller's jaw tightened. Sounds like a real charmer. Good thing we're not planning to surrender. The facility's speakers crackled with the transmission. A cold, metallic voice filled the room. This is Command Ship Leader Axe. You harbor a compromised starborn warrior. Return him immediately, or we will reduce your facility to ash. The human base commander's voice replied firmly. This is Commander Hayes of Mars Colony 7. Your warrior is under our medical care. Stand down your weapons, and we can discuss this civilly. Laughter echoed through the speakers, a chilling sound devoid of warmth. Care? You dare speak of care? You have stolen our property, infected him with your weak ideals. He is already dead to us. Now he must be destroyed, along with any knowledge you have gained from him. Val's voice shook as he translated the deeper meaning for the humans. In our language, he used words reserved for disposing of contaminated equipment. He no longer considers me alive. Dr. Drake didn't even look up from her work. Well, I consider you very much alive, and I don't appreciate others threatening my patience. The first explosions rocked the facility. Dust fell from the ceiling as starborn weapons began drilling through the outer defenses. But the humans didn't panic. Instead, they moved with practiced efficiency, coordinating their defense through quick hand signals and short radio bursts. Thompson's fingers flew across his console. 90% of the medical data downloaded. Just need a few more minutes. They will not grant you minutes, Val warned. Rax never negotiates. Please, leave me. Save yourselves. I am not worth dying for. Miller stepped closer to Val's bed, checking the power levels on his rifle. You know what your biggest problem is? You Starborn are so convinced you're superior that you never stop to consider what makes humans strong. Another blast shook the room. The lights flickered but held. And what is that? Val asked. We're stubborn as hell. Miller grinned. Plus, we're really good at improvising. Thompson, how's that little surprise coming along? Thompson's eyes gleamed. Ready when you need it. Those Starborn ships have impressive shields, but every system has a backdoor if you know where to look. Dr. Drake suddenly straightened up. Neural pathway reconstruction is at 60%. Val, try moving your right hand. Val focused, and for the first time since the EMP blast, he felt a tingling in his fingers. They twitched slightly, a small movement, but one that filled him with wonder. How? We reversed the polarity of your neural enhancers while rebuilding the pathways. Drake explained. It's not perfect, but it's a start. The facility rocked with its biggest impact yet. Emergency lights flashed as Commander Hayes' voice came through. They've breached the outer defense ring. All personnel, prepare for close-quarter combat. Miller turned to Val, his expression serious. I know you can't fight yet, but we could use your help. You know their tactics, their weak points. Will you help us defend this facility? Val looked around the room at these humans, former enemies who had risked everything to save him, who treated him as a person rather than property. In that moment, he made a decision that would reshape not only his fate, but potentially the course of the war itself. Their command ship's ventral plating. He began, his voice growing stronger. It has a weakness that. Their ventral plating has a flaw. Val continued, his voice growing urgent as the facility shook around them. Where the shield generators connect to the main power core, there's a gap in the radiation shielding. A precisely targeted electromagnetic pulse could cascade through their entire system. Thompson's eyes lit up as his fingers danced across his console. Like the one that hit you? We could modify the frequency based on the medical data we've downloaded about your neural systems. And turn their own shielding against them. Miller finished, already reaching for his radio. Commander Hayes, we've got a plan, but we'll need to redirect power to the facility's main dish array. The response came through static. Whatever you're planning, make it fast. We've got Starborn troops cutting through the secondary barriers. They'll reach the medical bay in 10 minutes. Dr. Drake worked steadily despite the chaos, attaching new neural stabilizers to Val's systems. Thompson, download complete. Val, I'm going to try something risky. Your motor functions are partially restored, but I can temporarily overclock your neural enhancers. It might give you more mobility, but it could also cause severe pain. Do it, Val said without hesitation. Pain is preferable to helplessness. As Drake made the adjustments, Val's body jerked. His artificial muscles tensed and relaxed rapidly as new sensations flooded his nervous system. It felt like being struck by lightning, but he could move. Slowly, shakily, he sat up. Miller helped steady him. Easy there, big guy. Just because you can move doesn't mean you should be fighting. I do not intend to fight, Val replied, his voice strained but determined. But I can help coordinate your defense. The Starborn will come in specific attack patterns. They are predictable in their efficiency. The sound of plasma cutters grew closer. Through the facility's internal sensors, they watched as squads of Starborn warriors methodically advanced through the corridors, their crystalline armor gleaming under emergency lights. Thompson looked up from his work. EMP modification is ready, but we've got a problem. The dish array needs to be aligned manually. The targeting computers were damaged in the first attack. I'll do it, Miller volunteered immediately. No, Val interrupted. You must defend this position. I will go. My neural systems are already damaged. Another EMP exposure cannot make them much worse. Drake started to protest, but Val held up his hand. Doctor, you have shown me more kindness than my own people ever did. Now let me return that kindness. Miller studied Val for a moment, then nodded. I'll clear you a path to the surface access. Thompson, guide him to the dish array controls. Doctor, what are the odds his systems will hold up? About 50-50, Drake admitted. But he's right, he's the best choice we've got. They moved quickly. Miller led a team that created a diversion, drawing starborne forces away from Val's route to the surface. Thompson linked a portable computer to Val's neural system, letting him monitor the modifications to the dish array remotely. Dr. Drake made final adjustments to stabilize Val's mobility. As Val prepared to leave, Miller caught his arm. Why are you really doing this? This isn't your fight anymore. Val's metallic purple eyes met Miller's brown ones. You taught me that strength lies not in abandoning the wounded, but in helping them stand again. My people were wrong about humans. Perhaps it is time they learned what I have learned. The facility shook with another impact. Through the sensors, they could see Rax's command ship positioning itself for a final assault. The other starborne vessels moved in formation, preparing to reduce Mars Colony 7 to rubble. Val stood straighter, fighting through the pain of his overclocked systems. Now let me show you how a true warrior repays mercy. The journey to the surface felt endless. Every step sent waves of pain through Val's partially restored nervous system as he climbed through maintenance shafts and emergency tunnels. Thompson's voice guided him through the portable communicator, while the sounds of battle echoed through the facility's corridors. 2 more levels to go, Thompson reported. Miller's team has the starborne forces tied up in the east wing, but you'll need to move fast. Rax's ship is almost in position for their final attack. Val reached a vertical shaft, his artificial muscles straining as he pulled himself up. The neural overload was beginning to take its toll. Warning signals flashed across his vision, indicating multiple systems approaching critical failure. Doctor, he called through the comm. How much longer will these repairs hold? Drake's voice came back tense but steady. Maybe 15 minutes at this rate. The overclock is burning through your systems faster than I expected. Val, you need to hurry. Finally, he reached the surface access hatch. The Martian wind howled outside, thick with red dust. Through the storm, he could see the massive dish array 100 meters away. And above, through gaps in the clouds, the sleek shapes of starborne ships hung like predatory birds. Movement detected, Thompson warned. 3 starborne warriors near your position. Val pressed himself against the hatch housing as plasma bolts sizzled through the air where he had been standing. His former compatriots had spotted him. Their crystalline armor gleamed dully in the dust storm as they advanced, weapons raised. Traitor, one of them called out in their native tongue. You disgrace us by accepting human aid. No, Val replied, his voice carrying across the windswept plain. I honor us by learning from them. By seeing that strength comes in many forms. He didn't wait for their response. Using the storm as cover, he sprinted toward the dish array. His damaged legs threatened to give out with each step, but he forced himself onward. Plasma fire cut through the dust behind him as he ran. Inside the facility, Miller's voice crackled over the general channel. We can't hold them much longer. East barrier is failing. Almost there, Val gasped, reaching the dish array's control panel. His fingers, now trembling from system failures, began inputting the modifications Thompson had designed. Above, Rax's command ship moved into its firing position, its main weapons powering up with an ominous hum that cut through even the howling wind. Val, Rax's cold voice boomed from the ship's external speakers. I should have known you would be the one to betray us. You always were defective. Too questioning. Too weak. Val didn't respond. He was focused entirely on the control panel, even as his pursuers closed in. Warning signals now filled his entire field of vision. Complete system failure was imminent. "The humans have corrupted you," Rax continued, "making you forget that strength comes from purity, from..." "Strength," Val interrupted, his voice somehow carrying over the wind, "comes from understanding. From mercy. From standing together." His fingers input the final sequence. "Something you never learned." Thompson's voice came through his calm. "Dish array aligned. Power levels at maximum. Val, get out of there." But Val couldn't move. His systems were failing, legs no longer responding. He gripped the control panel, watching as the massive dish turned toward the starborn ships. In his last moments of consciousness, he saw the brilliant pulse of energy lance upward through the storm. The electromagnetic pulse, modified to match the exact frequency of starborn shielding, struck Rax's command ship. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like a cascade of falling stars, the ship's systems began to fail. The shield generators overloaded, creating a chain reaction that spread to the other vessels in formation. As Val's vision began to fade, he saw the mighty starborn fleet, the pride of their military, falling from the sky. His last thought, before darkness took him, was that perhaps he had finally found true strength, not in the harsh teachings of his people, but in the unexpected mercy of his former enemies. The red dust settled over the Martian landscape as the last of the starborn ships crashed into the desert. Miller led the rescue team through the storm, racing against time to reach the dish array. They found Val collapsed beside the control panel, his crystalline armor dark and lifeless. "Get him inside, now!" Miller shouted over the wind. "Dr. Drake, we're bringing him in." "It's bad, all his systems are offline." The team carefully lifted Val's massive form onto a hover stretcher. As they rushed him back to the facility, the remaining starborn warriors, their own systems damaged by the pulse, began surrendering to human forces. The sight of their mighty ships fallen from the sky had shattered their resolve. Inside the medical bay, Drake had already prepared for the worst. The room hummed with emergency power units and specialized equipment salvaged from both human and starborn technology. Thompson worked frantically at his console, trying to salvage what he could from Val's neural network. "His core processor is completely fried," Thompson reported, his fingers flying over the controls. "The overload burned through almost everything." Drake refused to give up. "Then we'll rebuild it. Miller, get me those starborn medical files we downloaded. There has to be something in there we can use." Hours passed as they worked. Other doctors and engineers joined them, bringing whatever knowledge and resources they could offer. Even some of the captured starborn warriors, impressed by Val's sacrifice, provided technical insights about their biomechanical systems. Commander Hayes visited the medical bay, watching the team work. "The starborn fleet is in full retreat from the entire Mars sector," he informed them. "Word of what happened here has spread. Val's actions didn't just save our facility, he may have changed the course of the war itself." Miller barely looked up from where he was helping Drake connect new power circuits. "He's got to survive to see it, then. Come on, Val. You didn't come this far to give up now." Deep within Val's damaged systems, something stirred. The combination of human ingenuity and starborn technology was creating something new, a hybrid system that was neither purely human nor purely starborn in design. Drake noticed it first on her monitors. "Look at this," she called to the others. "His neural network, it's adapting. It's like his systems are learning from the human technology we've connected." Thompson leaned in, fascinated. "It's not just adapting, it's evolving. The human and starborn systems are working together in ways I've never seen before." Suddenly, Val's metallic purple eyes flickered to life. His voice came out weak but clear. "That would be a first." The medical team erupted in cheers. Miller gripped Val's shoulder, grinning. "Welcome back, you stubborn alien. How do you feel?" Drake asked, running quick diagnostics. Val was quiet for a moment, processing. "Different. My systems, they do not feel purely starborn anymore." What did you do? We improvised, Thompson explained. Had to combine our technology with yours to get your systems running again. Hope you don't mind being a bit human now. A bit human, Val repeated, looking at his hands where crystalline armor met human medical tech. No, I do not mind. It seems fitting. Through the medical bay's windows, they could see more ships arriving, but these were human vessels, coming to secure the area and provide support. With them came representatives from Earth, eager to understand how a single facility had managed to defeat the mighty starborn fleet. They will want to speak with you, Miller told Val. You're living proof that our species can work together, that we're stronger together than apart. Val's new hybrid systems hummed with steady power. Then let us show them what humanity and Starborn can achieve when they choose understanding over conflict. But first, he looked at the medical team that had saved him twice now. I believe I owe all of you a debt that can never be repaid. Drake smiled, checking his improving vital signs. Just promise to help us build a better future between our peoples. That will be repayment enough. 1 year after the Battle of Mars Colony 7, the facility had transformed. What was once a defensive stronghold now served as the first joint human-starborn medical research center. The place where two species had once fought to the death now stood as a symbol of cooperation and healing. Val walked through the corridors, his crystalline armor now seamlessly integrated with human technology. The hybrid systems that had saved his life had become the foundation for a new field of medical science, one that combined the best of both species' knowledge. Behind him walked a group of young starborn warriors, but they weren't here to fight. They were medical students, eager to learn about the revolutionary treatments being developed. As you can see, Val explained to his students, gesturing to his own body. The integration of human and starborn technology has applications far beyond warfare. Dr. Drake and her team have used these principles to help patients once thought beyond saving. They reached the main research lab, where Miller and Drake were working with a newly arrived patient, a starborn soldier suffering from severe neural damage, much like Val had been. The warrior's family stood nearby, something unheard of in the old starborn ways. The sight of them supporting their wounded kin rather than abandoning them still filled Val with hope. The old way was to discard the wounded, Val continued, watching Drake work. We thought it made us strong. But the humans showed us a different kind of strength, the strength to heal, to rebuild, to transform. Thompson, now head of the facility's technical division, rushed in with excitement. Val! The latest test results are in. The hybrid neural interfaces are showing a 98% success rate. Earth's Medical Council has approved them for widespread use. The news brought smiles to everyone in the room. What had started as an emergency solution to save one warrior's life would now help countless others, both human and starborn. Looking out the facility's windows at the Martian landscape, Val could see the remains of Rax's command ship in the distance. It had been preserved as a monument, not to the victory of one side over the other, but to the day both species began to change. Rax himself had survived the crash, and after months of recovery and exposure to human medical care, even he had begun to question the harsh traditions he once enforced. Miller joined Val at the window. Hard to believe it's been a year. Remember when you told me to leave you behind that first day? A mistake born of ignorance, Val replied. One that your stubborn human nature thankfully ignored. Their conversation was interrupted by an alert. A new emergency transport was arriving. But unlike the tense arrivals of the past, this one brought no fear. Human and starborn medical teams moved together with practiced efficiency, ready to help whoever needed them. You know, Miller said as they watched the teams work, some of the brass wanted to give you medals, call you a hero for what you did that day with the dish array. Val shook his head. I am no hero. I simply learned what you humans already knew, that true strength lies not in standing alone, but in lifting others up. The real heroes are those who first chose mercy over vengeance. As if to emphasize his words, they watched a young human doctor working alongside a starborn healer, their different technologies and techniques blending seamlessly to save a patient's life. In their focused faces, Val saw the future he had nearly died to protect, one where both species' strengths combined to create something greater than either could achieve alone. Commander Hayes, now Governor Hayes of Mars Colony 7, often said that the war had ended not with a final battle, but with a single act of mercy. Val knew the truth was more complex. It had ended because humans had shown there was another way, a better way, than the harsh philosophy his people had followed for so long. As Val returned to his duties, guiding more students through the facility's halls, he felt the familiar hum of his hybrid systems, part starborn, part human, yet somehow more complete than either. In saving his life, the humans hadn't just healed his body, they had shown his entire species a new path forward. And that, Val reflected, was the greatest victory of all.